In this video, I'm making a USB charging station thingy. Let's click and play and welcome to my bomb shelter basement workshop that I am currently having to rebuild. It's probably going to take a few months and I will be doing a video about it before it turns into total chaos and I can't make anything. I thought I'd squeeze in one last little simple video. Now I'm a messy person, so I try to make things to keep my spaces tidy, like my computer desk, where I made the crazy pen holder thing, and I made the controller slash phone holder, and later just made a controller holder. So next I'm going to tackle the space that really winds me up, and that is my charging area. It just looks horrible with all the cables dangling down. You've got to lift all the cables up to find the end that you need, and when you do, they're probably all crossed over and tangled up. And sometimes when I open my drawer, it pulls whatever's charging off into the drawer. The whole thing just winds me up. And I've never really seen a charger cable holder that does what I want it to do, so that's what I'm going to do. DIY charging cable station thingy. Pieces are now cut. This is pretty much a box, so if I stuck them together now, it'd be quite a boring video. So I'm going to try and do something that I've not done before. Beveled edges. Here's the basic layout. Top where the cables go, front, back, bottom. I'm going to stick the bottom piece inside so you can't see it, and then I'm going to bevel the edges on these front and back pieces, and then stick the whole thing together. Not sure if you can see that, but yet again, the cuts are not straight. There's gaps there, gaps on that side. Got all the pieces cut, but before I stick it together, here comes the secret sauce. Don't know what I mean. So the cables are going to be inside here. So the plug head is going to sit there just below the surface. This piece here is going to hold the cables. We're going to make a slot in there somehow. They're going to slide in and then you can just pull them out. This piece needs to be removable. So I'm going to take some of my scrap bevels from earlier, cut them to size, stick them on there. The plate can just rest nicely. Whilst we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to do the piece that holds the USB cables. I have left this wide enough so I could get 2 rows of plugs. My charger has 6 cables. Some of those cables have 2 ends, some of them have 3 ends. Probably got up to 10 plugs that I need. Let's just sketch it out and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything is ready to be stuck together, but I don't know how to stick together beveled edges. So I'm just going to bodge it with some clamps. But if you know how to stick together beveled edges, please let us know in the comments. I would be interested to find out how. Doesn't look too bad. That side's okay. That side's okay. Tiny bit of a gap. Not quite straight there. Bottom looks rubbish. Apart from the plywood looking horrible, that's pretty good for my first attempt. Oh. Right, that's a problem. I need to trim it down. Messengers reminding us that even the smallest rock. Right, there is a tiny bit of a problem. It fits in there perfectly. I have to do that to get it out. Also, the table saw just ripped it to pieces, so it looks ugly. Next, I need to make a hole for the power cord. I don't know whether I want it to go in from the side or go in from the bottom. Let's go for the side. Facing shot. That was a bad idea because it tore a piece of wood from the inside. It's not great. Yeah, just pulled one cable and it pulled the whole thing up. The whole thing is now coming completely apart. Yes. It's not really working. This doesn't really sit down because there's too many cables in there. Back to the drawing board. This short video is at real risk of not being a short video. I have to get something finished today, otherwise it might not go out for 2 or 3 weeks or potentially even longer. So let's assess the fault and improve it. The cables need more room inside the box, they're getting bunched up. So I'm going to use thinner plywood and I'm going to make it bigger. Removing this piece with a screw, not ideal. Also putting the cables in this thing was way too tricky. And obviously they look horrible. Definitely putting a lid on it this time as well to make it look nicer. One thing I'm not doing this time is the angled cuts. I have to get this finished today, so it's going to be functional, not pretty. Before I start assembling it, we need the cable holding piece. All that wood is like scrap builder's ply. You've seen it splintering, it's horrible. So I'm gonna use a piece of this nice stuff that Jack gave me. It's massive, I don't know if it's gonna work, but it should look neat. If it does, let's just have a go. Getting the piece in and out and feeding the cables was tricky, so we're going to improve it by adding hinges. But adding hinges is going to be tricky. Welcome to another episode of My Table Saw Doesn't Cut Straight. The position of my fence has not moved. All these pieces went through the same spacing. I've quickly clamped them up to make the box shape, and I've even stuck one in the middle, just in case the wood's bowing. Will this piece fit in? Will it fuck? Honestly, if I flex it out, it drops in. I can't really afford to buy a decent table saw. If anyone has any videos on how to make a table saw cut straight, please drop them in the comments. For now, I'm just going to trim this piece, which I didn't want to do because the cut sections will fray. As soon as I mentioned hinges, some of you probably knew the problem I was going to run into. And it's to do with geometry, and that's the extent of my knowledge on the subject. I tried explaining it, it went really badly. Then I realised a picture would be so much easier. You can see there, that comes up. Ooh, let me draw it, that'll work. I'm going to draw a line. A line either side. Let's just extend those lines. If this rotates on that corner where the hinge is, and I trace around this, you'll see it goes past that line. So you can see that thing there, it's going to touch the wood. So I probably need to trim a small corner off. Oh, I hate hinges. Oh.
Earth, a tiny blue speck.
Because it's so chunky, doesn't even need supports, holds itself up. So, time to put this thing together. No, I need the plug hole. I'm gonna do the plug hole.
Rests on the edge of this delicate balance between creation and chaos.
there's a massive mistake. It's not really a mistake, so I love my little flappy cable holder thing that I've just installed. Once the whole box is together, this won't be able to fit inside. And it was actually quite tricky plugging the USBs in anyway. Ugh, how do I fix it? Get my face in the shot. Right. I'm gonna add a flap. I need to get this finished. I'm gonna cut this in half, make a flap, and then stick this in and out dead easy, and get to the cables, hopefully. It's a good job I removed this piece because now that it's stuck together, it's too tight. So I'm gonna have to trim this one down.
Those celestial messengers reminding us that even the smallest rock can have a hand at sculpting
I
worlds.
screwed it back on and it's really tight on this side with loads of room on that side. I really should have sanded these, and I still need to make a handle. I'll stick a screw in it. It's a learning process. I don't know how I've messed that up. I measured it, I trimmed it. It should have had loads of room. Gonna see if I can take this apart, trim it, and start again. Ugh. There we go, that is my attempt at a USB charging dock. The finish and execution wasn't brilliant, I did rush that. I used braided string to put a handle to lift the cable thing up. It works, but I feel like I could have done something better there. I also used braided string to lift the entire flap up on the top. I couldn't be bothered buying the right hinge, so it's got a rusty old hinge on the front. Really doesn't look good. The flap to put the charger thing in, I just binned that off, and we just went with a gap to feed it in. And that did make it a lot easier for plugging the USB cables in. And if I'd taken my time, I could have chosen better materials, put angles on the edges so the whole thing looked a bit neater. Even though the finish wasn't brilliant, I do think the idea was pretty good. I just slapped mine onto the side of my drawers because I built that drawer set out of scrap wood. But you could make that as part of a drawer set, or you could build it into a table or build it into the side of a TV stand. You could build it into pretty much anything. Now obviously there is room for improvement on there, but it does exactly what I need it to do. I'm very happy with it. And it would be cool if someone took that idea and made something better. So that's your lot for today. If you've made it this far, give yourself a pat on the back. As usual, if you've got any tips, questions or suggestions, stick them in the comments below. People have been commenting on the videos and it has been awesome. I wasn't going to do this video. The comments inspired me to do it. Even though I'm going to be rebuilding my basement and it's going to take ages, I'm going to try squeeze in little videos as well. So yeah, keep those comments coming. It keeps me motivated and I will try explain what's going on as soon as I can. So it'd be awesome if you could subscribe. I always forget that bit. See you in the next video.